Hello guys, this is Hanna Lee. Have you guys ever heard of Gotjawal Provincial Park? Today I'm here in Gotjawal to observe its environment. What kind of species are living in Gotjawal? Why are they living in Gotjawal? Oh, I have so much questions to solve. Then, let's go. Gotjawal refers to rough, rocky areas created by lava flows during volcanic activity that was later covered by various types of vegetation, such as trees and bushes. Its name comes from the Jeju words "got" and "jawal", which are understood to mean forest and rocky area respectively. Growing on terrain where rocks are unevenly scattered, Gotjawal forest sustains unique ecosystems where a variety of flora and fauna coexist. According to the soil map of Jeju, Gotjawal is forest formed on solidified crust of lava flow. It is where rocks and rock fragments have accumulated as a result of gravity due to the weathering of lava or where arsenic released by volcanic activity is deposited, allowing shrubs and wild grasses to grow, but making it unsustainable for agriculture or forestry. In 2000, cited examined the distribution of lava flows on Jeju and divided the lava zones into 4 regions and 10 divisions separate from the above-mentioned Gotjawal regions officially recognized by Jeju Special Self-Governing Province. According to cited Gotjawal on Jeju is divided into 한경-안덕 Gotjawal, the Jucheon-hamdok Gotjawal, the Ewol Gotjawal, and the Guja-Seongsan Gotjawal. Hence, the title 4 major Gotjawal zones on Jeju has made. Each Gotjawal zone, extending up to 15 km, is composed of rocky areas created by the cooling and solidifying of lava flows and the orums from which the lava originated. In short, Gotjawal is distributed widely from the middle slopes of Halla Mountain to the coastal areas. The areas include Gorae-ri and Seonheung-ri in Jocheon-ub, Songdang-ri in Guja-ub, 하순리 in 안덕면, and 저지리 in 한경면. While there are 4 total Gotjawal Park on Jeju-island, we are going to focus on one specific park, which is 한경-안덕 Gotjawal zone. The 한경-안덕 Gotjawal zone, located in the southern part of Jeju-island, is split into the 울림-신평 Gotjawal and the 산청-안덕 Gotjawal. The 울림-신평 Gotjawal stretches about 13 km from 도내리 오름 in 구막리 to 울령리 to 영락리. The forest in the Gotjawal Provincial Park and the Jeju Gotjawal Forest are the main sites monitored for ecological change. So, what we are going to observe is not the whole part of 한경-안덕 Gotjawal. It is just a part of it. Then, can you guys guess the reason why I am making this video? The reasons are to point out the reason why we have to conserve the high biodiversity of our environment. And to point out that people's behavior often has a negative influence on biodiversity. Throughout this video, I hope people can realize the reason why we have to conserve the biodiversity of our environment and hope this video can change people's behavior. Now, let's talk about the biodiversity of Gotjawal. In order to figure out the biodiversity of Gotjawal, we need to make sure of the definition of biodiversity. Do you guys know what is biodiversity? Not really? Okay, then let's look through it together. Biodiversity is the variety of life across all levels of biological organization. While biodiversity includes diversity in species, genes, populations, communities, and ecosystems, biodiversity usually classified between 3 concepts, which are ecosystems, species, and genes. And today, as we are going to focusing on the Gotjawal environment, we are going to focus on ecosystem biodiversity. Then, let's look at the variety of species that are living in Gotjawal and talk about it. In Gotjawal, there are mosses covering rocks year-round, ferns flourishing in humid places, variety of mushrooms growing on the terrain, Evergreen broad-leaved trees including ring-cupped oak, camphor, sweet viburnum, and camellia. Deciduous broad trees such as snowbell, Chinese hackberry, Parramatta maple, dense logwood, East Asian mallotus, and Chinese softberry. Brown-eared burble, the white-backed oddkeeper, the Chinese bush warbler, the jay, the gray-tithed, varieties, the yellow thorny bunting, the pheasant, and Rufous turtle dove. Summer birds observed in this zone include the bluebird, the yellow-rumped flycatcher, and the cuckoo. Rain birds that occasionally appear in this habitat are the mandarin duck, the hawk, the goshawk, the black paradise flycatcher, and the Japanese night heron. Birds commonly observed in the pasture area adjacent to Gotjawal zone include the meadow bunting, the swallow, the pheasant, the magpie, the large-billed crow, and the Keller aglet. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of species are living in Gotjawal. And remember, there are more species are living in Gotjawal. I just couldn't explain them all because there's a ton of species. And now I'm going to explain some unique species that are living in Gotjawal. The first one is the Siberian roe deer. Siberian roe deer is considered as a guardian of Hala Mountain and the Gotjawal. It is not a guardian of galaxy. It is a guardian of Hala Mountain and the Gotjawal. Although they can be found anywhere on the island, they have not found a safe haven yet. The roe deer lives in the mountainous regions and on Hala Mountain and moves in winter to the Gotjawal forest. Some stay in Gotjawal areas even in summer. They appear 3 months after birth and are fully developed in 3 years. The second one is black paradise flycatcher. Among white birds, a passerine bird called the black paradise flycatcher has an exceptionally long tail. Despite its appearance, the species is called samwangjo, which means bird of 3 lights. Recently, the Ornithological Society of Korea changed the name of this bird to 긴꼬리택새, meaning long-tailed flycatcher, considering its appearance. Moreover, Gotjawal has several rare plants such as Quercus gilva and Cremaster appendiculata. Quercus gilva distributed in Gotjawal forest and it is a Class II endangered wild plant species. The single-leaf Cremaster or Cremaster appendiculata is an orchid that grows on the shores or islands south of Najong Mountain on the Korean peninsula. This wild orchid species is one of the representative plants that grow in Gotjawal forest. Gotjawal forest retain high humidity throughout the year and warm temperatures in winter, favoring various types of mushrooms. Gotjawal forests are major habitats for mancua, chichas, and redbark oak. The presence of rocks scattered irregularly on Gotjawal terrains results in conditions unfavorable for plant growth. Then let's compare the plant growth in Gotjawal and other ordinary environments. After 2 months later, the plant in Gotjawal is still short because of its rocky environment, while the growth is fast in other and ordinary environments. Therefore, Gotjawal is a good place for organisms such as animals or birds to live, but not a good place for fast plant growth. Then, in what relationship do each species spur their life in Gotjawal? Not only for the Gotjawal organisms, such organisms sustain their life by having a relationship with other types of species, which are called symbiosis. There are 6 types of symbiosis, which are neutralism, amensalism, commensalism, mutualism, predation or parasitism, and competition. Then, let me explain what those 6 relationships are. First of all, neutralism is just a neutral relationship that neither organism A nor organism B affected by the relationship. Second, amensalism is a relationship that one organism is being harmed while the other stays neutral. Third, commensalism is a relationship that one is benefiting while the other is neither harmed nor benefited. Fourth, mutualism is a relationship which affects positively to both organisms. Fifth, predation or parasitism is a relationship which gives positive effect to one and negative effect to another. Last but not least, competition is a relationship which affects negatively to both organisms. Then, how Gotjawal organisms are sustaining their life? First of all, mosses having a commensalism relationship with the rock because mosses sustain its life by living on the rock without giving any positive or negative effect to the rock. Second, birds also having a commensalism relationship with the tree because birds sustain its life by living on the tree without giving any positive or negative effect to the tree. Unlike the insects, birds are not giving any positive influence to the tree. Third, the whole park is used as nesting site for brood stick birds and the Indian cuckoo. These kinds of organisms who lay their eggs into the other organism's nest are called parasitoids. And for this relationship, brood parasitic birds and the Indian cuckoo are the parasitoids who lay their eggs in Gotjawal. Therefore, this relationship can be considered as parasitism. Fourth, the mushrooms having a mutualism relationship with the living tree because mushrooms sustain its life by living on the tree. Also, by allowing mushrooms to live on its body, trees are also gaining protection from the other insect. Other than these relationships, other organisms also having their own relationship with other organisms to sustain their life. As we are experiencing 21st century, developed nations were becoming common all over the world, and even within the country, the citizens are continuing to develop and urbanizing their environment. As a result of this urbanizing, biodiversity of the country tends to become smaller and smaller. Several organisms are gone extinct because of habitat loss, climate change, predation, disease, etc. And most significantly, human activity is the main factor which causes decline of biodiversity. Those human causes are called anthropogenic factor. The existing vegetation covering the Gotjawal areas now has the characteristics of secondary forests, which means that the original forest vegetation was significantly distributed by human activity, namely logging, for hundreds of years. Moreover, citizens who live near the Gotjawal often visit park and harvest the crops when they see it. Since Gotjawal has several productive and rare crops or organisms, people become interested in it and just take it even though it is not allowed. People might have thought this is just nothing. However, because of those human behavior, several species are losing their habitat and some of them are nearly gone extinct because they couldn't adapt to sudden environmental change. As we are building more schools and apartments around the Gotjawal, it is now urgent to stop converting the land around the Gotjawal. But fortunately, Gotjawal has been conserving its biodiversity despite there was a human interrupt. Let's see how Gotjawal has been maintaining its biodiversity. First, Gotjawal terrain has poor soil mostly composed of rocks of different sizes. This means that Gotjawal areas are difficult to cultivate, which is why they have been left largely intact. Second, the provincial government is putting systems in place for the preservation of Gotjawal by establishing the Gotjawal Sharing Foundation, having Dongbekdongsan designated as a Ramsar site and wetland protected area, selecting the Sunhul Gotjawal as a geopark candidate site, and extending all routes to including Gotjawal trails. Even governments were putting systems to preserve the environment of Gotjawal. And it is now our turn to preserve Gotjawal, not to just rely on the preservation that offered by the government. Then, why is it so important to conserve the biodiversity of Gotjawal? Of course, there are lots of reasons of why we have to conserve the biodiversity of Gotjawal. We are going to focus on just 3 reasons among it. First and most importantly, Gotjawal provides ecological services. Ecological services is a beneficial profit often arising from the nature, and it is classified into four types. These are the four types of ecological services. I wrote the definition of each services so you guys can refer to it. Let's look at the services we are currently receiving by having Gotjawal near us. For provisioning services, we are receiving sun energy, wind energy, building materials such as wood, and material for making transportation. For regulating services, Gotjawal is doing climate regulation, erosion control. Because each area is mostly rocky, it is good to prevent soil erosion. For cultural services, we are receiving non-material profits such as opportunity of having recreation, education through Gotjawal, and artistic value by having beautiful forest around us. Last but not least, Gotjawal also provides supporting ecological services, and these supporting ecological services are also needed by the other ecosystems, not only for these specific ecosystems. So, for the supporting services, Gotjawal is having its own primary productivity and also nutrient cycle and also biogeochemical cycle. If there is no primary productivity or nutrient cycle or biogeochemical cycle in the ecosystem, then that ecosystem is not providing supporting services and will not be able to provide any of those ecological services because it does not sustaining the most basic ecosystem services. According to those ecosystem services that we are currently receiving, humans should conserve the biodiversity of Gotjawal because Gotjawal provides a necessary profit. Second, Gotjawal is containing several historical sites and relics. Hills and low aurum are often used as ranches and pasture land. Near the park, many historical sites have been discovered, including prehistoric rock shelters, ancient kiln sites, and the remains of walls built for charcoal kilns. The rock shelter sites can be found in the villages of Guongli and Murungturi. The rock shelters, a prehistoric type of dwelling, were formed when volcanic activities created cave-like openings at the bases of cliffs. Common relics excavated from the rock shelter sites include stone tools as well as reddish-brown, jar-like potteries from the Bronze or post-Bronze areas. The traces of fire burnt inside the shelters indicate that the site used to be inhabited by prehistoric people for some period of time. The villages of Guongli, Bosongli, Sinpyeongli, and Murungturi also retain a favorable basic soil condition, which resulted in a number of kiln sites that had been used to fire pottery and roof tiles since the Joseon era. Roof tile kiln sites are found in Bosongli and Murungturi, while 12 pottery kiln sites remain in Guongli and Sinpyeongli. The Gomongul kiln in Guongli is particularly significant as it is the last Gomongul kiln sites that still exist in Jeju. Within these all historical sites that exist in Gotjawal related area, it is significant to conserving Gotjawal. Third, as it was mentioned during biodiversity of Gotjawal section, several endangered species of animal and plant are living in Gotjawal. Therefore, we have to conserve Gotjawal because we are receiving benefits by having it and animals receiving benefits by living in it. Then, let's observe the benefits that we are receiving, animals receiving, and the overall benefit. For human benefit, people can rest under a tree that are located in Gotjawal. Gotjawal provides food, firewood. Moreover, Gotjawal forests provide ecological services through diverse and complex routes to all living organisms, including plants, mushrooms, insects, wildlife, and humans. Yes, because Gotjawal is providing us food, areas to take a rest, areas to have a recreation activity, and other various benefits, it is really important to conserve Gotjawal. Otherwise, we might lose our most precious tourism area in Jeju. Now, let's look through the benefits that animals and plants are receiving. Gotjawal have well-preserved vegetation on the surface so that the animals that live in Gotjawal can easily get the food. Gotjawal zones are distributed from the middle slopes of Hanna Mountain to the coastlines, serving as natural buffers that protect wild animals and plants. Some Gotjawal areas have lava tubes connecting depressions, and some have a rock layer that goes deep underground. These geologic and topographical characteristics of Gotjawal result in microclimates that differ from those in the surrounding areas, featuring warm temperatures in winter and cool temperatures in summer, making it possible for both cool weather and warm weather vegetation to coexist. Gotjawal terrain forest is even more biodiversity by allowing plants that can survive dry conditions to grow in areas where the rocky layer is directly exposed to sunlight or where the land is raised. Gotjawal forests exhibit high levels of plant diversity, providing habitats for both temperate and warm temperate climate plants. Gotjawal forest, which stay green all year round, is rich ecological repositories that function as shelter for wildlife. The lush vegetation of Gotjawal is home to resident birds such as the Japanese bush warbler and the brown-eared warbler and serves as wintering and breeding grounds for migratory birds including the black paradise flycatcher and the fiery pitta. And Gotjawal serves as sites of interaction between resident birds and summer birds. These numerous benefits that both animals and birds are receiving underscores the importance of conserving Gotjawal. Lastly, let's look at the overall benefit that both humans and organisms are receiving. Gotjawal has dozens of lava layers underneath, which make up a huge groundwater aquifer. No matter how much rain falls, it can filter into the ground to be stored in the aquifer, and this process is called infiltration. The evergreen Gotjawal forests are referred to as lungs of Jeju, as they absorb carbon dioxide, which is the main driver of global warming. As Gotjawal is also providing cultural ecological services, Gotjawal also retains special historical, cultural, and ecological qualities. And this kind of characteristic gather more people to visit Gotjawal, which finally leads to economic development of Jeju. Lastly, and this might be the most significant overall benefit, I think. Sumgol, meaning air vents in Korean, refers to small holes formed in the ground that let air into and out of the ground aquifer, just like the windpipe allows air to pass into and out of the lungs. Sumgol are particularly significant on Jeju because they serve as passageways for rainwater to directly reach the aquifer. In addition, Sumgol provides important ecological benefits by letting air from deep underground, which exhibits a different temperature and composition than that found above the ground, thus providing habitat for unique plant species. The amount of rainwater flowing through Sumgol is several times greater than the amount that percolates down through the normal lava plateaus. Thus, Sumgol serves as a significant natural resource for replenishing groundwater and aid in understanding the unique ecosystem of their surrounding areas. If we destroy Gotjawal because of cultivating for more land for urbanizing, we might also lose such precious ecological services, and this will lead to decline of biodiversity and increase the speed of global warming. Again, Gotjawal Provincial Park is also one of the natural environments that we have to conserve. Even though government is implementing several regulations to conserve it, humans have to also behave well in order to keep those regulations work properly. So, did you guys learn something throughout this video? Actually, all of these are related to environmental science, and these are the whole part of videos that are related to environmental science. Today, we applied our knowledge of environmental science to real-world ecosystem. I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you guys have any questions. This was Hanna Lee.